We're going to work on a quadratic question today. Our quadratic is going to be this equation right here. I'm going to have 2x squared plus 13x plus 6 equals 0. Now really, before I do any of these questions, I want to have all of these. I want to have my normal quadratic equation, I want to have my quadratic formula, and my empty quadratic formula all waiting for me to solve this problem. Since this quadratic equation matches up so nicely, I know I'm ready to find my roots. I'm ready to solve for x, which will be given to me by this equation. So my a's line up so nicely, my b's line up as well, and my c's line up very clearly here. So that means that in my empty version of the quadratic formula, I'm going to be putting my b in here. So 13 goes in here. B is the first thing under the radical as well. Then I have 4ac, so my a is 2, and my c is 6. And then 2a would be 2 times 2 down here. At this point, we're going to focus on the part that's in my radical. This part right here, we're just going to go ahead and solve that in my calculator. But first, let's clean up the rest of this. So I have x equals negative 13 plus or minus the square root of, remember we're going to get one nice number here, and that's all over 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. So if you take this and we go into our calculator, we need to clear and we type in exactly what was there. So that was parentheses 13 parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses 2 parentheses 6. And if we go ahead and look back, this is exactly what I have under the radical. I hit enter and I get 121. So that means right here, all of this becomes 121. That 121 actually is a pretty nice number because if you go ahead clear, you take square root of 121, you're going to get 11. So this simplifies to just negative 13 plus or minus 11 over 4. So that means I can get x1 and x2. x1 is going to be when I use the plus, so I'm going to have negative 13 plus 11 over 4. And x2 is when I use the minus, so I'm going to have negative 13 minus 11 over 4. Again, the last hint to use a calculator, when you have fractions, you're going to need to close off the top and the bottom of your fraction before you put it in a calculator. So right now we're going to go ahead and solve for the answer here. I'm going to plug this straight away into the calculator, and this right here is going to be my dividing sign. So I'm going to have parentheses negative 13 plus 11 close parentheses divided by parentheses 4 close parentheses. Go ahead and hit equal and I get negative 0.5. So all of this will become negative 0.5. Let's do the same with my x2. I go back to my calculator, I clear it, I do parentheses negative backspace, negative 13. Then I do a minus 11 divided by parentheses 2. And my answer is negative 12. So this means that my roots are at 0.5 and negative 12. Means the roots are the same thing as my x-intercepts. So this equation touches my x-axis at negative 1.5, and negative 12.